mean, they're all so close. Trump's going to win at least one, especially Pennsylvania, which is heavily leaning towards the right. We do have some numbers.
Trump
from
is
Maine.
winning.
Kamala Harris is behind right now, but ultimately it's pretty unlikely that the GOP will actually lose the state, or the Democrats will actually lose the state. No Democrat has lost it in over 3 decades. Looking at the Senate races, Amy Klobuchar not looking the strongest, but we'll see what happens there. Nebraska, Deb Fischer is probably going to come out with a victory. That's what Republicans want. Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, he does lead. And so basically all of these Senate candidates up in the Midwest, Kamala Harris and just do slightly better, and they will win just because of how close these races themselves are. In Wisconsin, Tim Baldwin's at 45, Kamala Harris is at 45, so we'll just have to see what happens. Some people are saying that North Carolina has been called. Is that on Fox? Where has North Carolina been called? All right, I mean, I guess we can call North Carolina as well here. This is probably the first step on the road for a Trump victory. In North Carolina, we have our first swing state projection going in favor of Donald Trump. In North Carolina, give me 1 second to pull up the projection.
Come on now. Beyonce, can you go give me a light, please? I'm about to do my ritual for Donald Trump. Come on, Beyonce.
Going to be the winner in North Carolina. This is a big blow to the Harris campaign. Democrats have been trying to win North Carolina basically since they won it in 2008. It hasn't happened yet, and it's not going to happen in 2024. Donald Trump holds on to North Carolina. This is the first swing state projection we have made out of the 7, and North Carolina
What's the
is
swing
going
state?
to go red. It's going to be a victory for Donald Trump. And then we can also call Colorado. Kamala Harris is doing quite well here. Kamala Harris will win the state's 10 electoral votes. It's going to go blue. And so we have an extra 10 going in favor of Harris. And so the map really is starting to fill in now. We're getting a pretty good picture of where things are.
My daughter's sitting right here, y'all.
Can you do a poll of Biden versus Harris? I'm curious who is the lesser of 2 evils to the audience. Well, I guess if everybody would like to chat, say whether they prefer Harris or Biden, I think we can get a good answer just from that. Trump. All right, so we're going to come back to the map here. 178.99, that's the New York Times. I currently have it at 217, 115.
If you guys are
going to be
commenting,
slower.
I'm not getting the comments for some reason.
But up in New Hampshire, it looks like Kamala Harris is doing okay. It'll definitely be a close race. Maine, it's not looking too great for Harris either. Missouri will definitely be called very, very soon. And of course, Colorado, New Mexico. So we've actually just hit 2 million views on this stream. So in total, 2 million people have clicked on it. Thank you guys so much for your support, for sticking with us. We're at nearly 150,000 concurrent viewers. So if you guys could subscribe right now and all hit the subscribe button at the same time, we may be able to hit our goal of 350,000. I would really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for your support over the last 4 years and for tonight. Yeah, we're over 2 million now. I mean, that's incredible to see. We're at 333,000 subscribers. 1/3 of the way to 1 million, actually. But Trump.
We love Trump.
Right, Trump. Check things out. Trump at a 78% chance of winning the election. Yep, this is what at least been
Trump,
expecting.
Trump, Trump,
Pennsylvania
Trump,
shifting
Trump,
to the
Trump,
right.
Trump, Trump,
Wisconsin,
Trump,
Trump
Trump.
is looking to Michigan. It seems like Trump might be able to win Michigan as
Yes.
well, although I would definitely
I was in
be a
Michigan.
lot
I
more
was at the rally
cautious
last night.
about
Y'all can
that.
check out my
Personally, do
video.
not
He
have
came
Trump
here, I
winning
think,
Michigan.
4
But we'll just have
times.
to see.
I seen him 3 times in Michigan. I'm wearing my Trump shirt. Trump, 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 Trump. Y'all can shut that down. Look at it. Look, look, look. 78.6.
My map has Missouri.
Woo!
Yes,
Trump, Trump, Trump,
Missouri
Trump,
is gonna
Trump,
go red, there's
Trump,
no doubt
Trump.
about it. Matthew says you're seriously the best. Have loved listening to you over the past few months. Thank you, and let's go Trump. Thank you for your support. I'm glad I was able to help guide you through
Trump,
this
Trump,
election
Trump,
over the last
Trump,
few months.
Trump,
Definitely
Trump,
been a
Trump.
long one. I know just 4 months ago,
We
Obama
love you,
was
Trump.
Democratic nominee. Clearly, I think people are going to give Biden a bit more credit.
Trump, 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 winning, Trump, 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 Trump. We winning, baby.
Right now is showing the Kamala Harris HQ in Washington, D.C. There aren't that many people, and
Trump's
what they're seeing
ahead.
is definitely not what they want. Thank you, Chang, for the super chat.
What's that song?
Really
What's that song?
appreciate
Hey, goodbye.
We are now just 24 minutes away from the 10 p.m. poll closing. So this is another major milestone for the election. So let me just get this map all clear. I'm show you guys what's going to happen at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Trump,
we have
Trump,
our final
Trump,
poll closing
Trump,
in a battleground state. That will be Nevada.
Trump.
Nevada's going to be the final battleground state where voting will end. We also have Utah, where Mitt Romney is going to be replaced. He's retired from the Senate.
Trump.
This is where John Tester is probably going to lose his re-election. So Montana and Nevada, we have 2 big races to watch there. Polls will be closing in just 24 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And so now coming back to the map, I mean, again,
Trump,
no big
Trump,
updates.
Trump,
Pennsylvania,
Trump,
is now just 9 points away. He's going to retake the lead here. And after that, we'll probably be able to call the state in favor of the former president, and that will pretty much end the night. Wisconsin here, Trump plus 0.2 based on the New York Times forecast. Michigan, we can also see what's going on here, Trump plus 0.5. It really seems like red Michigan is coming. It seems like Trump might actually win Wisconsin and Michigan.
Come through!
Definitely very surprising to
Trump,
see.
Trump. Woo! Michigan, come on! Come on, Trump!
I mean, it's definitely surprising how well
Woo!
he's doing right now. Although I wouldn't say too much.
Trump! Woo! It better come on, Michigan.
Pretty clearly, they really couldn't.
Guys, I was there last night, and I was there. I'm in Michigan.
Is going into this
and I seen 2 times in Michigan. Man, that line was long, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. It was like, oh my God. I've never done anything like that, because you know how usually people go see people in concert, like Michael Jackson and Prince and stuff like that, and they sleep overnight. I'm damn near slept overnight. The line was ridiculous. I mean, the support for Trump was crazy. You know, it was. They tried to interview me. I think it was 517. You know, and I don't know. I was like hesitant, you know, because I wasn't really prepared. Well, you really don't have to be, but I just didn't want to. But it was like, I loved going there. It was like the energy. Everybody was so friendly. Everybody was so friendly at the Trump rallies, and
for less than 4 hours. It's only 9:38.
Yeah, I would most definitely do it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my very best to stay until we get a full projection for the winner. Trump.
Speak it into existence, guys. Speak it into existence. Trump has already won. He has already had the victory.
Nearly as well.
I'm trying to tell you.
He is right now. But again, we are just
speak it into existence. He has already won.
From 10 p.m. We're also going to be able to.
Nah, she's behind already. If you look at the map,
we're probably going to be able to call Georgia pretty soon. That's going to be a big deal for Trump. But I'm literally making
Trump
right now, just because I never actually made one. So I didn't think I'd be able to call it so early.
Yeah, for real.
But in North Carolina, it's pretty clear Trump is going to come out
Trump.
3.2, much better than a lot of people expected. Georgia also.
Trump.
Margin.
Woo!
Some people ask me where Washington is at. Polls will close in Washington at 11, so we're not going to see anything from there for another 2 hours. But there's a lot else on the map that we have to cover.
I don't know what the swing states are.
Nevada, Arizona. We don't have any votes from Arizona yet, but they should be trying to get numbers out to us pretty soon, although obviously that hasn't happened yet.
I have a Trump animatronic for Halloween, and literally it's on my porch, and no one is outside, and it's going crazy.
Donald Trump at 50%, Kamala Harris at 48%.
Trump.
Able to pull this off at this point, but we'll see. 4.9%.
Come on now.
So Harris is still on
Trump.
is so far behind PA with a projected win. I mean, just the votes that have come in, these 31%. It's now just a 5-point margin for Harris. We've seen the margin continuously go down throughout the entirety of the night, and it's only going to continue going down more and more every single time a new state or every single time new batches of voting votes are counted. And in the end, Trump is on track to win by 0.9%. This is pretty big in favor of Trump, at 0.9%. It really seems like he just isn't going to lose the state. Polling market is kind of going crazy right now.
78%, baby.
76. All 3 of the upper Midwestern states are currently on track to go to Trump based on the polling market forecast. We'll have to see what happens there, but it does seem like things are over for Kamala Harris before they even really started. It's going to be very narrow victories, though. But we will see here.
If you watch my channel, like I literally got Donald Trump painted on my vehicle, all over my vehicle, and Michael Jackson. But
because he's basically doing exactly
and I should do a video of people's like reactions.
In the next
I have Donald Trump on my car, painted on my car, and I only got one person who attacked me, and it was this guy. And he had tried to attack me. It was crazy.
Trying to find that for you
but
guys.
Besides that, I get nothing but love from my car that has really Donald Trump painted on him. On it.
Their map here this time. This is a lot better than what we're used to. But with the popular vote so far, obviously you have to take this with a huge grain of salt because we still do not have the popular vote yet from California and a lot of those big states out west. California is going to take a long time to count the votes, so we're not going to really know who won there for a while. But Donald Trump has 34 million votes. Kamala Harris has 30. Jill Stein is actually in third place with 244,000, and Chase Oliver at 234. Robert F. Kennedy, who basically ended his campaign, is at 196. So Trump currently is leading in the popular vote. Do I think he'll win it in the end? Probably not. But he will definitely get close, and the polling is going to be pretty accurate. Somebody said your videos and projections have really helped me with my understanding of the election. Thank you so much for the work you do. Yeah, of course. I mean, I love hearing that.
Trump.
Will Harris concede, or will Democrats drag the process out? As time has gone on, I've begun to feel more confident that we will probably hear about a call from Kamala Harris to Donald Trump where she will, of course, concede the election. So I think that at some point tonight, if you here on the stream, we will be able to call the election. Maybe not the big news outlets, but at least unofficially, it'll be pretty clear which way this race is going. I mean, Georgia is solid red. Trump has a 92% chance of winning. North Carolina, 95% for Kamala Harris. Arizona is gone for the vice president too. So it really couldn't be any better.
Trump. Who are you guys going for? Trump or Kamala?
Try to look through chat, see if anything.
Put it in the chat. And make sure you guys subscribe.
We can actually make another big projection here. Ted Cruz is going to win his re-election to the Senate. Obviously, he was one of the most vulnerable Republicans out there, but Cruz is going to win his re-election to another 6-year term. Ted Cruz, the projected winner in the Lone Star State. So we can also fill this in on our Senate map now. We can probably make another projection in New York. Kirsten Gillibrand is going to win there. We're going to wait a little bit for the rest of the states, but for now, Texas, Ted Cruz, the projected winner. And yeah, I mean, some people are saying that they haven't called North Carolina yet. Really depends where you look, but North Carolina is going to go red. There's no doubt about it. Trump leads by 3 points right now. He's on track to win by 3.2. It's not going to change too much. I'd be extremely surprised if he lost it. We're going to be able to call Georgia as well pretty soon in favor of Trump. He's doing literally exactly what he needs to do. So, nothing to worry about there.
What about the election?
In Iowa, the New York Times predicted margin is 8.7, so he's going to do better than he did last time. You slip up on your unbiased opinion a lot. I mean, I guess you kind of just go with the side that's doing well, really. Trump's doing well, and he's continuing to do that. It's not really my specific preference or anything, but I'm definitely not going to hide the fact that he is doing quite incredible right now, especially compared to what a lot of people are saying. I mean, somebody asked me about Alan Lichtman earlier. I think his career is over, although that's perfectly fine. He's quite old, so I don't think he really needs anything else. But yeah, I mean, lots of good news coming out for the Trump camp. Is Trump leading in New Mexico? Trump's probably not going to win at New Mexico, but it's going to be a lot closer than even I expected. Kamala Harris is going to win by 5.4. It's going to be around that margin. And obviously, you cannot take these New York Times projections at face value, but they normally are pretty close. So if they have Harris winning by 5, she's not going to win by too much more than that. I mean, Joe Biden, for context, won New Mexico by 11 points 4 years ago. So you can see how big that drop-off really was. I think Democrats are going to start to realize the impact of having a nominee that nobody really wanted. If Kamala Harris ran in a primary, if Joe Biden ran in 2020, it's pretty unlikely that Kamala Harris would be the nominee in 2028. She simply doesn't campaign that well. Thank you, Banana Crypto, for gifting 50 memberships. Really appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoy it. Can you explain why Trump will lose Virginia even though he has a lead? Yeah, so I mean, again, the votes that have been counted so far, a lot of them are coming from these rural counties. I mean, look at these counties, over 95% in. So these are the Trump counties, basically. We still have a good amount of votes up in Fairfax. That's probably the biggest Dem county in the state, right outside of Washington, D.C. And so it's going to be those votes that are going to get Harris over the top, although she is doing worse and worse. So the race can get close, like I've been saying for a while, but not close enough where Trump is actually going to win. I think this would actually be a good time for us to shift our focus to some of the House races just to see what's happening. Republicans are currently at 95. Democrats are at 70. I don't believe we've had many flips yet. Yep, no flips have been called so far, but Republicans are doing good in the House. We probably will see a trifecta, in all honesty. We can come back to polling markets, see how the markets are reacting to these new updates. Trump at 78. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, they're basically all gone for Kamala Harris at this point.
Oh, shit.
Let's look at this graph. This is exactly where Trump wants to be. And so this is the big problem for Democrats here. Surprisingly, Republicans are not just on track to win the Senate and the presidency, but also the House. They have a 64% chance of doing so. And so, I mean, this is the red wave that people have been talking about. This is what Trump needs. Obviously, he's not going to win Minnesota or New Hampshire like some other people on this platform have been saying. Not to call anyone out, but don't know why they keep saying that. But with these 7 swing states, Trump couldn't be doing any better. We'll look at the new New York Times projections. 0.8 for Trump in Michigan, and then in Wisconsin, we currently have 0.3. So, these states could still go either way. But it does seem like Trump could sweep the entirety. It's going to be the same map as we saw in 2016, which would be quite something. Yeah, we're now just 10 minutes away from the 10 p.m. poll closing. It's going to be the last poll closing with a swing state. That, of course, is going to be Nevada. We still don't have any votes out of Arizona, though, which is quite frustrating because that's something, a race that we want to look at.
Trump.
Yeah, I think it's at this point that Democrats have realized that they've screwed this up.
They sure did.
They lost this election, and I would say they kind of lost it from the beginning with Joe Biden running. He was the right candidate in 2020. He was definitely the only one that could really win against Trump. But he should not have tried to run again. He should have realized that he was simply too old, and what was he really going to gain from a second term? And so, with Kamala Harris, if she had entered the race earlier, she would have a better chance. People know. People simply aren't as enthusiastic about her because nobody really chose her to be the nominee. People just support her because they don't want Trump. Whether or not that's a good reason or not is not really. I don't really care. But we saw the exit polls earlier, and it was clear that Trump just had a lot more enthusiasm. There was a much higher percentage of Trump voters that were voting because they supported Trump, and less that were voting for him just because they didn't want his opponent.
Right.
And that was an issue for Harris. She simply doesn't have the enthusiasm, and that is why she's losing.
She's stupid.
People want to look at the overall forecast. Trump at 286, according to the New York Times, 69% chance of victory. So it's still matching up basically exactly with my projection. The Ohio Senate race, 58% of votes in, Bernie Moreno in the lead. This is what Trump and Republicans want to see. We're probably not going to see too much of a difference in the results here. Trump has already won Ohio. He's probably going to win it by 10. So, I do believe.
Let me look this up because I don't know what the swing states
the Ohio
are.
Senate race pretty soon, but we're going to be a
what
little
states
bit more
are the swing
here.
states
Although
in
there
the
are
election?
some Senate races that I would like to project at this time. We have a lot of results from Maryland now in. Angela Ulster-Brooks is going to win there. In Maine, not too much yet. Virginia,
what
Tim
is
Kaine
the swing state?
is
My stupid
struggling
math
this time.
microphone
This is
won't
going to
work
be probably
for
the
some
closest election for Tim Kaine ever. Minnesota and Klobuchar is losing. All across the map, Republicans just
what are the swing states?
What they're looking for. Democrats are not seeing what they're looking for. And so, that's pretty much the theme of the night. I wouldn't say Democrats have lost by a lot, but they're definitely not where they need to be. Trump, CNN just called Louisiana. New Hampshire, I can look at New Hampshire. So 47%. Kamala Harris +7 right now. She's on track to win by 4. I wouldn't say that she would flip it. That's pretty unlikely, but we'll have to see. All right. People asked about Missouri as well. Missouri's going to go red. It just hasn't been called yet because we don't have the Trump votes in at this point. What's going on in Georgia? Trump leads right now by 5 points. It's going to shrink, but he's going to win it by 2.5. Trump. For this race to go any other way. And so at this point, we can make another major projection, and that is the one. Give me 1 second here. All right. we can project that Donald Trump is going to win Georgia, 16 electoral votes. The second swing state for us to call, Georgia, is going to go red. It's going to vote for Donald Trump for a second time. He's going to flip it back. He won it in 2016, lost it in 2020. He's going to win it back again. So 16 electoral votes from Georgia. You can see at the bottom right, it is going to be red. Pennsylvania, a lot of people want me to look at Pennsylvania. I mean, yeah, I think Trump's going to retake the lead there soon. We also have a projection in Maryland. Angela Ulster-Brooks is going to defeat Larry Hogan to win her first 6-year term. This comes as Ben Cardin is retiring. Maryland is going to be blue. Then you guys want me to look at Pennsylvania, so I'll do that in just a second here. Pennsylvania, it's about to flip. Kamala Harris at 50, Trump at 49. Trump is on track to win the state by 1.2%. This is quite incredible. Just how well he's doing. Yeah, I think
Michigan better be
able to make some calls soon. Michigan at Trump +1. I mean, yeah, I guess I would say we may have underestimated the former president a little bit here, but in terms of margins, it's basically exactly the same. Yeah, so right here, Trump at 287. This is according to the New York Times projection. Matches up exactly with my final forecast, 287 for Trump, 287 for Trump, according to the New York Times as well.
Trump.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's going to flip soon. That's probably going to end the night for Republicans. We, of course, do have 4 more minutes, though, until 4 more minutes until the 10 p.m. poll closing, so that'll definitely be interesting to see how much left of the Philadelphia vote is in, or is left, I guess. So far, Philadelphia County, 32% in, but these are the heavily favoring Democrat votes. These are the mail-in votes, the early votes. So Trump is only going to go up from here. And we also, of course, have a lot of these rural counties left to report a lot of results. So Pennsylvania is only going to get better and better for Trump, but we're probably not going to be able to make a projection there for quite a while, especially if we only have 40% of votes in. It's going to be at least at 80 or 90% that will be confident enough to make a call.
Trump.
But, there are many other states that we can also project pretty soon. And keeping an eye out on states like New Mexico, Iowa, I think we were called, Minnesota too. Kamala Harris, 4.3%. That's a pretty abysmal margin, honestly worse than I expected. So, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty disappointing for the Democrats. I don't really know how else I could put it. The AP has Harris winning Iowa. Yeah, I mean, oh wait, no, okay. So the results so far, Kamala Harris is winning in Iowa, but a lot of these votes are from Des Moines. I mean, Des Moines is the most liberal area in Iowa, and we have 60% of the votes in, 60% for Harris. That's, she definitely needs a lot more than that to actually win the state. Iowa's going to remain Republican. Trump is on track to win Iowa by 8.8%. This is better than his performance from 4 years ago, so he's definitely going to win. No doubt about it. Can you explain Pennsylvania and Michigan again? All right, so Pennsylvania and Michigan. I guess with Wisconsin, right now this is the electoral map. So we've made most of these projections already, but North Carolina, Georgia, the 2 swing states we've called. So for Trump to get over 270, he needs Pennsylvania. That's the one that can get him to 270 the quickest. But if he does win Arizona, which is extremely likely, he can also not win Pennsylvania and just win Michigan, or just win Wisconsin. It seems like right now he's going to win at least one of these 3 states at the very minimum, even if things start to go terribly for him. But it's also very likely that he actually wins all 3. We'll have to see. All of them, though, are going to be decided by razor-thin margins. So really, it's going to be Trump plus 0.5, Harris plus 0.5. It's going to go down to the wire. But in terms of winning one of the 3, which Trump needs, it's almost a guarantee that is going to happen. Wisconsin has just flipped in favor of Trump. It's 49.5 to 49 now. Trump. The betting markets have it at 67% of Trump win, Michigan Pennsylvania 73. So yeah, that's what we've been expecting right now. But we will just have to wait a little bit longer. We're just 1 minute away, though, from the 10 p.m. poll closings. Voting about to end in Montana, Nevada, and Utah. 3 big states, especially Nevada and Montana. We have, of course, a very close presidential election in Nevada, and then in Montana, we have a big Senate race where Jon Tester is fighting to stay alive and hold on to his seat. All right. So it is now 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Polls have closed in Montana, Utah, and Nevada. At this time, we can call the state of Utah in favor of Donald Trump. He's going to win Utah, and it's 6.
Trump.
6 electoral votes for Trump in Utah. And then in Montana, Donald Trump is going to win the state's 4 electoral votes. We're going to see Trump creep up just a little bit more. He is now at 243 electoral votes. We also do have a projection in New Hampshire. Kelly Ayotte, the former senator from the Granite State, will become the next governor of New Hampshire, succeeding Chris Sununu. She was defeated by Maggie Hassan in 2016 to win her re-election to the Senate. She's now going to be elected the governor. She's going to defeat Democrat Joyce Craig in what was supposed to be quite a competitive race. And so good news for Republicans there. But yeah, we're now at 10 p.m. Utah's red. Montana's going to be red very, very soon. Pennsylvania, Trump takes the lead. Michigan, Harris is ahead by 8. Wisconsin, Trump has taken the lead there as well. So everything is now turning into Trump's favor. This is what we've been expecting. Trump.
Boom,
more and more
boom, boom, boom,
right.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, polls just closed in Nevada. We're probably not going to see numbers out of Nevada for quite a while. It is always one of the slowest states to count votes. I mean, it's quite frustrating, but it simply is just going to take quite a while. All right, the Senate map here. We'll see if we have any updates here. I mean, the Montana Senate race, this is a big one to watch. Democrats could lose their 2nd or 3rd seat here if Jon Tester doesn't win re-election. And yeah, we're actually now at over 2.3 million total viewers. We've been pretty consistent at 150,000 concurrent viewers. So thank you guys so much for that. Thank you to Happy Family.
Trump.
Keep going for as long as I can. But
I'm recording on my
have a pretty good
YouTube
idea of who's going to win.
And my Facebook.
Next, few hours here.
Trump.
We are still trying to hit our goal of 350,000 subscribers. So if all of you guys hit subscribe right now, we'll be able to instantly get to 350. Let's see how high it can go up if we all subscribe together. So thank you guys so much for your support and for sticking with me throughout the night. But hopefully we can hit 350.
I'm not rotating. They keep telling me to rotate.
In the next few hours, but I guess we'll continue on now, looking at some of the new results that have just poured in. Montana projected for Trump. He leads 28-26. I mean, I'm sure that's a mistake there. I don't know how that's possible. And then has Trump taken the lead in Pennsylvania? Yes, Trump has taken the lead in Pennsylvania. Well, I guess he just lost it again, but it's going to come back to him.
It's going to come back.
Pennsylvania by
we ain't worried about
1%.
it. We ain't worried about it. Trump.
As well, Wisconsin too. But it seems that all 3 of these states, according to the New York Times projection, Donald Trump is favored to win all 3 of them.
Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Trump.
I've been predicting 3 polls for Trump for months now.
Get it on!
At the end, it seemed like Harris's numbers, the early voting numbers in Michigan,
Trump.
Probably the main reason why he beat Kamala Harris. Trump. And I just had to give it one way or the other. But Minnesota, Donald Trump, it leads by 16 points. Harris is on track to win by 4.2. Again, that's definitely not what Kamala Harris needs. This is the home state of her running mate. She can't just win by 4 points. She needs to at least outperform Joe Biden, who won Minnesota by a whopping by a whopping 7 points. Al Lichtman is pointing out that most of Trump's counties have dried up. Philly and Pittsburgh are still actively counting. I don't know why the New York Times is giving it to Trump at this stage. I mean, it's clear now that Pennsylvania is gone.
Trump.
There's going to be no projection for a while.
I don't know.
I mean, it's gone. Nothing else like to say about it. Iowa, though, has split for Trump. Trump takes the lead in Iowa. No surprises there. He's going to win the state by 8.9. Thank you to Zeracker for gifting 10 channel memberships.
Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, looking at the map here, we have our first results from Oregon, even though polls don't fully close there until 11. But we do have voting ending in parts of these eastern counties. And here, Trump 26.
Bear with me, guys. I'm like
really sure what
videotaping on my YouTube channel.
I mean, he's winning. He's not going to win Oregon,
and
though,
my
but those
Facebook.
are the first votes from the state. Although we do have another big drop of votes from Arizona. 36% of votes are in from the state, and Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are in literally a perfect tie. However, a lot of these votes are coming from Maricopa County. That is the most liberal area, as well as Pinal County, which is right outside of Phoenix. Compare this to 2020, and you see the issue for Kamala Harris. Joe Biden won Maricopa County. Today, with mainly just the early votes in, Kamala Harris is barely ahead in Maricopa County. She's not doing well enough. That is why this lean Republican Trump is on track to Trump. So Arizona probably going to be called pretty soon as well. But for now, we'll keep it there.
Trump.
New Mexico, we have 22% of votes in. It's pretty likely that Kamala Harris is going to win there. New Hampshire, 49% of votes in. It's 53 to 46. Harris plus 3.8. Harris's margin in New Hampshire just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Now, obviously, she's not going to lose the state, but it's pretty concerning just how poorly she's doing. Trump. Sorry, not New Hampshire. Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris, 49.2. Donald Trump, 49.9. The flip has happened again in Pennsylvania. Trump is now on track to win.
Woo!
By 1.9%. I mean, wow, that is quite the significant margin.
Yeah.
Michigan and Pennsylvania, all looking good for Trump at this point.
Yes,
Kamala
baby.
Harris's lead is about to get taken away from her in Michigan.
Woo!
Thank you to Senor Diarrhea for gifting the 10 memberships. But Michigan, Trump 1.6. I mean, it's really surprisingly well. Somebody asked about Virginia again, so we'll go back to that in just a moment.
Hold on,
Wisconsin,
YouTube.
it seems like Trump's lead is expanding there too.
I don't know how to stop
in Virginia, Kamala Harris is on track to win by 4.5, so she's probably going to win it, but it's going to be by less than half of Joe Biden's 10-point margin from 2020. So it's still going to be a pretty bad performance, but maybe not nearly as bad
has failed.
As some of these other states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, where she is losing. And I think
Trump.
Down.
Please bear with me, YouTube. I'm typing on YouTube and my YouTube.
Over. No matter how you want to put it. New Hampshire, 50%. Colorado has just been called for Kamala Harris. This is one of the few states where she might actually outperform Joe Biden, although that's unlikely. But at least she'll get close. I really haven't seen a single state where she can be better than the incumbent president. I mean, in New York, Kamala Harris.
Please bear with me, YouTube.
Which is
I'm on
not as bad as expected.
My Facebook right now.
Still,
I think
Joe Biden did do better there as well. Nevada, we don't have any votes there yet. Arizona, things are still looking good for Trump. I would say this is my tentative map here, so I'm going to give Arizona to Trump on this map.
Trump.
Realistically, it could obviously be closer, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of over. If you look at the polling market forecast,
sorry, I'm over here.
Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they're all on track to go red. Donald Trump, 87.4%. Kamala Harris, 12.9%. I mean, this is almost exactly what I predicted. in my final projection. I said Wisconsin and Michigan were basically pure toss-ups, and things are going perfectly as expected. And so, if you appreciate it, consider subscribing. We're at almost 2.5 million viewers. If we could all subscribe right now, Trump. We're trying to hit 350 tonight, and I think we can do it with your support. So thank you guys again so much for all that, for all the support and for continuing to stick with us tonight.
I'm sorry, YouTube. Hold on.
Donald Trump flipped the popular vote. I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to, but it does seem that Trump's numbers are starting to creep up more and more. We'll see the 2024. Guess if I could see everything at the same time. This will come into Google. So with the popular vote now, Donald Trump leads with 52.5%. Trump. Kamala Harris at 46.3. Trump is at a raw vote total of 41.3 million. Kamala Harris at 36.5 million. So it's looking very, very good here for Donald Trump. He might even win the popular vote. I mean, if you look at the polling market forecast for the popular vote, it seems that Trump is actually on track to win it entirely. I mean, look at this graph. Look at what's happening in the past day. Trump has a 76% chance of winning the popular vote. Things really are going his way. I mean, I'm watching CNN right now. It doesn't seem like they're looking
Bear with
very
me,
happy
YouTube.
on screen.
Bear with me. I'm trying to tape on you.
We're probably
Facebook
gonna see
too.
Dan Jones cry again, although this time for a different reason.
Trump. I forgot which one is.
Let's come back and see what the presidential map is showing us. See if we have any updates.
Trump.
Races, not too much. Pennsylvania's at 50% though. Donald Trump has taken the lead. He leads by 2.1. He's on track to win by 1.9. I think we could be looking at a projection here at some point. Wisconsin is also favoring Trump. Trump +3 right now. He's on track to win by 0.8. And then with Iowa, 51-48. Kansas, of course. Trump is
hold on, YouTube. I'm
that.
sorry.
North Carolina, Georgia, we've already called.
Trump.
Virginia is still Trump +1.
I'm gonna get off Facebook.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the new subscribers. I couldn't be more appreciative for your guys' support. But we now have 48 minutes to go until our 11 p.m. poll closings, and not going to be the most important ones, but it's going to do a lot to fill in the map more. So Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, the polls will close in those 4 states, and then at midnight we'll see voting end in Hawaii, and then Alaska will be at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So things are continuing to go basically exactly as we've expected, exactly as what Trump would have wanted.
Okay, I'm back. YouTube.
The polling market has Harris at 9%. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna leave this here for you guys to look at it for just a second here. Kamala Harris has totally crashed. This election is basically over. I mean, it's 88.6% chance that Trump wins. 9.7%. 9.7% that Harris will come out on top. But, I mean, obviously, that just isn't going to happen at this point.
Hold on, YouTube.
You think CNN is absolutely fake news? I mean, I would say that they try to be objective, but, it's clear that the people they have on their panel they're extremely left-leaning, which I don't think is a problem, but, I mean, I feel that, I think they're better than MSNBC. Trump. This is Trump. I feel like some reporting at least is pretty objective. I mean, they're going to call it Trump victory. Soon. Is Virginia actually in play? Probably not. It's 70% of the vote soon. Trump is going to lose his lead soon. Harris is going to win by around 4 points. That's what I currently expect. There would have to be a big shift in favor of Trump for him to actually win it. But we'll see what happens. Arizona, we're now at 40% of the votes here. It's leading Republican. Trump is behind by 1%, but he's actually on track to win Arizona by 4 points. Yeah, this is pretty big. We're going to be able to make a projection there pretty soon, in all honesty. New Mexico hasn't even been called yet. Kamala Harris is on track to win by less than 5. And once again, I've overestimated the vice president. I kind of thought that in some of the more blue states, she wouldn't perform nearly as poorly as she is right now. But I mean, I guess anything is possible.
Trump.
Full update on Kansas. Also want Maine. So Kansas, Trump at 52, and then Kamala Harris at 46. This is mainly because all of the Kansas City votes are coming in at this point.
Hold on, YouTube.
And then ultimately, though, Trump is going to win by 17. That's better than 2020. In Maine, we only have 8% of votes in. Trump is leading by 4. Although ultimately he's going to lose it. He's losing by 6. Yeah, that's not what Democrats really want. Angus King in the Trump.
Yay! Trump. Where are you slow bitches at? Slow!
What that is referring to, I think I see this. I think there's a popular vote one, or yeah, there it is. So the New York Times has Donald Trump winning the popular vote at 0.6%. This is the first time that Republicans will win the popular vote.
I'm taping on YouTube and Facebook, so
with George W. Bush in 2004.
My Facebook is whack, so I'll talk to y'all later. Come to my YouTube channel.
Of George H.W. Bush. With the Electoral College, Trump is on track to win 295 right now. My projection originally was 287. We'll see what happens there, but Trump 295. And then in terms of winning the election as a whole, the New York Times gives Donald Trump a 79% chance of winning the election. Poly market here, we'll see what the update here is. 88-9. I mean, Trump has got this election in the bag. I think something else that would be fun to do is just to see how all these forecasts have updated in the final day, because there was a pretty notable shift in favor of Harris this morning. So, I mean, if we look at the 538 forecast, see what they have there. In the final moment, they gave the election to Kamala Harris. So, once again, they're wrong. They were wrong in 2016. They're wrong now in 2024. The Economist, on the final day, they gave Kamala Harris a 56% chance of winning. They're going to end up being wrong as well. And then we also have Nate Silver's forecast. He'll end up being wrong once again, too. He gave Kamala Harris 50-49. I mean, obviously, these are just odds, but it's funny how they all shifted in favor of Kamala Harris on that final day, which is basically this morning.
Right. Trump.
Iowa, Trump leads by 5. His margin is only going to expand there. Arizona, we have a majority of the votes now in. Kamala Harris leads by 0.8, but it's still very likely Trump will win it. Plus 3.9 is the current margin for the former president. We'll see how this continues to go over the next 40 minutes, because in 40 minutes we'll have another big poll closing, and then of course 12 p.m. with Hawaii, 1 a.m. with Alaska. Get caught up on chat real quick. Yeah, I mean, so no votes from Nevada have come out yet. It's still just 0-0. They're going to take a while. They took a long time.
Is leading by 4.
Back in
Although ultimately he's
2020,
going to lose it. He's losing by
they always
6.
take a long time. That's kind of just something that Nevada likes to do. I really don't know why they're so slow, but it's just something you have to deal with. But the good thing is that Nevada's not going to decide the election. We're not going to wait until Nevada to actually be able to know who's winning. The race is going to be decided a long time before Nevada is actually called, especially at this rate. And we already have North Carolina, Georgia going red. North Carolina, Trump holds on to a 5-point lead. Let's take a look at the update. Trump's on track to win by 2.6. Basically what we had earlier And so we're going to be able to call a lot of these states pretty soon. New Hampshire right now, Kamala Harris at 52, Donald Trump at 46. It does seem like she's going to be able to hold on to her lead, at least for now. So that is good news, I guess, for the Democrats. They don't lose New Hampshire, but I mean, basically the election is gone at this point. Check Virginia. People want me to check Virginia.
Hi, Kitty. You gonna say Donald Trump too?
Virginia, 71% in, Donald Trump at 49.5, Kamala Harris at 48.8. Yeah, this is looking good. It is looking quite good for Donald Trump. We'll see if the meter changes, but right now Harris is still favored. It's at 4.5, although this number does continue to go down every time I check it. But it's now 10:20. You know, the night is probably going to end pretty early on. CNN currently has it at 178.91, but we of course know that they're heavily underestimating Trump in many of these races. Iowa has just been called. I think a lot of people are saying. People, when we look at polling market again, apparently Trump is finally at 90. Yeah, it seems like Trump is now at 90. It seems like it's a lock. He's going to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Honestly, a little bummed out that I'll be proven wrong by less than 1% in both Wisconsin and Michigan. So I apologize for that. But I guess if I point to my prediction from 5 days ago, that would have been absolutely perfect. But I mean, you know, obviously, we had Trump winning, and the map wasn't going to change too much from there. The margin in Illinois right now, we'll take a look at what that is saying.
Yeah, that's with Democrats.
11 points for Kamala Harris.
Based on the returns that we've seen.
Quite bad. The last three Democratic nominees.
There is a Japanese legend that says when two souls are destined to be together.
Points. I mean, Kamala Harris up by 10, basically 11. That's not what we need for the Democrats. Now, we're going to look at Arizona. We have a Senate election there with Carrie Lake running as the Republican nominee. Now, you know, people will get upset at me because I like to bash on Carrie Lake, but it really doesn't seem like she's going to win, even at this point. So, look at Arizona on the presidential level. Trump is at 49, Harris at 50. The Senate race has Trump at 53, Carrie Lake at 45. So Trump is outperforming Lake by 4% right now. Kamala Harris is leading by 1. Trump is on track to win by 4. So we're basically going to see a 5-point swing in terms of the margin in favor of Republicans over the next few hours. Carrie Lake is behind by 8, so it does seem like Lake is going to lose again. And this was a winnable race for Republicans. It's just that they shouldn't have chosen the person that lost the governorship to Katie Hobbs, who was, you know, a pretty uninspirational candidate for governor back in 2022. If Republicans put up anyone else, literally anybody else, if it was Blake Masters even, they would have been able to win. But Carrie Lake was never the person, and I've been saying that the entirety of the election cycle. People want to look at Texas. Trump leads by 13 points in Texas. It might even be a solid margin. Maybe he might even win by more than 15. This would be the best Republican performance here, maybe going back to 2012, or maybe even going all the way back to the Bush era. Somebody said, is this a red mirage or legit good news for Trump? This is most definitely legit good news for Trump. I mean, right now, basically what we have is pretty clear that Trump is going to sweep Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, the 3 must-win states in the Sun Belt. Now, all he needs is Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And according to the betting markets, according to the New York Times projection, according to just the votes that are coming in right now, it seems pretty clear that Trump is going to win at least 1, but probably all 3 of them. So this is not a mirage. This is not like what we saw in 2020. there's not going to be a blue wave. I would say if you're a Republican right now, you have nothing to worry about. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident that if you're a Republican right now, you have absolutely nothing to be worried about. Republicans couldn't be in a better position, here at 10:30 p.m. Obviously, the race, isn't going to be called that fast. But it will be called pretty soon, I feel. People saying about Kerry Lake. People want me to check Arizona, where 51% of the votes are now in for Arizona. Trump's still behind by 0.8, but he's going to win it. He's on track to win by 4 based on the numbers so far. Somebody said this is so much better than networks. I appreciate that. I'm going to try to do my best here. I try to read the chat and see what you guys want me to go over. So I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the coverage, but we can also make another projection. I believe it should be updated on our Twitter. And that is that New Hampshire will go to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the projected winner in the Granite State of New Hampshire. It's going to be close. Kamala Harris' performance is going to be bad, but she is ultimately going to win the state. So New Hampshire is going to be blue on our map. We can also project that in Ohio, Bernie Moreno is going to win the Senate seat. He's going to defeat Sherrod Brown, the incumbent Democrat. This is going to be a flip in favor of the GOP. It's going to be a big victory for Republicans. This basically means that the GOP is going to win 52 Senate seats at the very minimum. Coming back to the map, see if there's anything else interesting that we can take a look at here. Michigan is now leaning a Republican. Michigan might even vote to the right of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. I mean, that's the biggest surprise, isn't it? In these Senate races, though, the Senate election in Pennsylvania is now a pure toss-up. I mean, we might see a red wave for the GOP. It might be 54 seats for Republicans. It seems like Tammy Baldwin currently is on track to lose her re-election to a third term. I mean, that is a really big deal here. Tammy Baldwin is ahead right now by less than 1%. And I mean, she was crushing in the polls just a few months ago. Trump leads here. Baldwin is outperforming Harris by around 1%. I mean, this race, it really could go either way. So the margin right now is around 0.8. So we're going to see another 0.8 increase for Republicans there. And so with the Senate race, yeah, it seems like Tammy Baldwin might be on track to lose. We'll have to see what happens, but the Wisconsin Senate race is going to be among the most competitive. Now in Michigan, it seems like Alyssa Slotkin is actually doing quite well. At least that's based on what we're seeing in the betting markets. Give us 1 second to take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, it would be a surprise for Republicans to sweep the 3 upper Midwestern seats, but it really seems like that is incredibly possible right now. But unfortunately, that does not mean that Kerry Lake is going to win, because Kerry Lake is still probably going to lose. But with these Senate races, I will say Republicans are doing a lot better than expected. I had them personally at 52. I might have underestimated them by a seat or two. But, I mean, obviously not everything can play out as you would expect.
What's an electro voice?
Pennsylvania update, we're at 56% of the vote. Donald Trump takes a bigger lead. He's now up by 3 points. He's on track to win by 2%. Yeah, it seems that right now, Donald Trump is on track to perform better than he ever has in the past. That's what the polls have been saying. Now, we did say the polls were going to be more accurate than they have been in the past, and that has proven to be incredibly true, at least so far. Trump has still been underestimated in some instances, but it's well within the margin of error this time. The polling has actually been pretty reasonable. So, the polling is not something that we should be getting upset about this cycle, unlike the last two where they were just huge misses. But Georgia, Georgia's done. I mean, we already called it, but the news media is going to call it very soon. Trump is going to win by 2.7. 91% of the votes in. Trump leads already by 2.1% or 3.1%. His lead is going to shrink a little bit, but he's going to win. North Carolina, we have 76% of the votes in. Trump leads by 6. Arizona, again, it's going to be another big win for the former president, or for the vice president here, I guess, in New Mexico. People also want to look at Virginia. 73% of votes in. Donald Trump has lost the lead in Virginia. This was definitely expected. Harris on track to win by 4.7. It is what it is, but it's still a good performance for Trump. Definitely nothing he should be upset about. Georgia just got called by MSNBC, apparently. So there you have it. Basically aligning perfectly with our map here. Now, in the 2nd district of Maine, Trump is doing very well there as well. We'll probably be able to say something about that pretty soon. Somebody said, thank you for your unbiased and useful election content. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I do my best to not stay in the middle, but to try to take information from both sides, which is why I'm not one of those people that gave Trump 340 electoral votes. Not going to say their name. One of the people that said that Kari Lake was going to win Arizona. But definitely, I do my best to be as realistic as possible. I think, that's done me quite well. 2020 exact margin. This time, I'm going to get very close. Maybe not the exact margin, but at most just 2 states away. But of course, with the correct winner projected. Yep. So Missouri has just been called. Josh Hawley will defeat Lucas Kunce to win his re-election. We called this a while ago. New York Times forecast apparently has Trump winning the popular vote by 8%. Yeah, the election really would be over if that actually happened. Trump was 0.8. I mean, this is a big milestone for Republicans. Their first popular vote win in 2 decades. Since the election of 2004. They haven't been able to do this. But now
Trump,
have.
come on.
I think somebody wanted me to look at the New York Times update or the MSNBC polling estimates. Apparently they're saying Trump is at 201, Harris at 91. I mean, they're just more cautious with their calls. I mean, with me here, I called North Carolina and Georgia pretty early. They're going to call those states very, very soon. It's just that they like to be 100% in the clear, even though they know before that, how each state is going to go, basically, when those early results come in. But, here with me, I'm not here to waste your time. And, it's extremely unlikely that we'll actually be wrong about something like this. Thank you guys for the donations coming in. I mean, that really means a lot. Definitely a lot of preparation has gone into this. We've been covering this race for over 4 years. I would say hundreds of videos released about 2024. Then, of course, we also did the midterms. Basically, I think daily uploads on this channel without missing a single day. That started on August 28th, I believe. So it's been nearly 3 months of daily uploads. New daily uploads, I think, for the last 4 months. So that's something else I feel pretty good about. Somebody asked, why is New Hampshire a battleground state with only 4 electoral votes, but states with the same amount aren't? I'm not sure if I know exactly what you mean by that, as New Hampshire isn't really a battleground, but it's among the more competitive ones. It is one of the states that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to call at poll closing time. So, New Hampshire is obviously going to be close this time, but Democrats do have a clear advantage. That is definitely shown through. What do you think the popular vote will end up at? I think Trump +1. I mean, that's going to be a huge shift. For context, Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.5%. So a 5 to 6 point shift with the popular vote to the right. I mean, that would be incredible for Trump. And for Kamala Harris, I think Democrats have realized a long time ago the mistakes they've made. If they had gotten rid of Biden a long time ago, And if they had ran a primary like normal, they wouldn't be losing Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The economy has really been the big issue for Democrats throughout this cycle, and it's really starting to bite them in the butt here as the election, unfolds. You can care about democracy, you can care about abortion, but ultimately, the economy has always proven the most significant factor. And even though Alan Lichtman likes to say that, for some reason he was wrong. Somebody said, I've been watching 4 different election channels. Yours is best by a wide margin. I really appreciate that. I'm really glad you're enjoying the content. We're actually just less than 5,000 subscribers away from 350,000. So if everybody here subscribed right now, we would instantly shoot past that goal. We could potentially even set a new goal for this stream. But I mean, obviously, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. But if everybody could hit that subscribe button right now, help me out. After 4 years of covering this race, that would mean a lot. CNN right now is showing the exit polls in Pennsylvania for Latino voters. Harris at 58, Trump at 41. I mean, that is terrible. Latino voters need to go to Democrats by 70, 80%. So yeah, I mean, there's just more and more it's just piling on all of the bad news for Democrats right now. We do have some more votes from Minnesota, though. Donald Trump at 59, Kamala Harris at 34, but ultimately, of course, Trump is on track to win the state. It's extremely unlikely that he'll lose it. We'll also see, thank you, Carl. Thanks for your effort through the election this year. Yep, of course. Glad I was able to be of use. But right now, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, they're all toss-ups. Trump only needs one. He leads in basically all of them. Michigan, Trump is about to take the lead in Michigan, and once he takes it, he's not going to lose it. People ask me, why didn't Georgia get called yet? That's just because the news channels like to be very cautious with it. But I mean, look at it. It is very likely Republican. The New York Times is never going to say that it's very likely Republican unless it is. He has an over 95% chance of winning. Georgia's red. We've called it. North Carolina here is likely Republican. It's only going to go up as more votes are counted. But yeah, I mean, 3.3%, even better than Georgia. New Mexico, I'm hoping we can call this state soon. Once the New York Times moves it from lean to likely Harris, I'm really surprised that hasn't even happened yet. I mean, Kamala Harris' performance has just not been good. We'll come back to make some more projections right now, though, as we do have a few more states to call. Yeah, so we'll start off. The 2nd District of Maine, Donald Trump is going to win for a 3rd time in a row. He's going to win the district's 1 electoral vote. Kamala Harris has already taken the state at large as well as the 1st district, but the 2nd congressional district, Donald Trump is the projected winner. So you can see on our map here that Trump is at 244 electoral votes. Now, we still do have the 2nd district of Nebraska left. That currently is favoring Kamala Harris. Supposedly, it was reported that the Harris campaign is working on a concession speech. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she gave that speech tonight. It's probably going to happen sometime soon. So, a shout out from Washington. I appreciate your content and keep up the good work. Of course, that's what I'm here for. I'll be here for as long as I can, hopefully until we get a winner. Yes, so P. Clark says, I'm going to love to see Alan Lichtman's excuse this time. He refuses to admit he was wrong in 2000. Yeah, I mean, I definitely am excited as well to see what he has to say about this, because he has spent the past half year streaming every single day telling us about how Kamala Harris is going to win, and because a lot of people do trust him, they've all been misled. And I mean, I would say with the certainty that he says it with is the biggest issue. The way that he says that his keys are a science. I mean, how could his keys possibly be a science? I mean, it's literally just 12 or whatever, 14 arbitrary, issues. Now, obviously, he picked them well. I think he's done a good job with them. so far. But the fact that he is so confident, and the fact that he tries to convince people of that, I think it's definitely an issue. Because he still says the way you present the data is a much needed medium these days. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just doing my best here to keep up with the chat. If I miss a message, I really apologize for that. But trying to just keep up with the chat and answer all the questions you guys have. Nelson asks, why do Maine and Nebraska have 2 congressional districts? Well, Maine actually has 2, and then Nebraska has 3. So basically, the Electoral College and just with voting in general, the laws are all made by the states. And so these 2 states just decided that they were going to allocate 2 electoral votes from the state as a whole, and then one per congressional district. And so as it's played out, we basically have 1 district from each state that goes with the other party, not with the state. Somebody says, greetings from a former Democrat in Texas turned Trump supporter. Thanks for your meaningful content and unbiased coverage. Yeah, of course. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Again, let me check Wisconsin. Thank you to Christian for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Taking information from multiple sources and presenting it in a non-biased way. Yep. Of course, that's what I try to do with this channel. And then, so I guess we'll now give you guys an update on Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, Trump leads by 3. Michigan, Trump leads by 0.6. Wisconsin, Trump leads by 1.5. Wisconsin and Michigan are now lean red. And if the New York Times says this, it's pretty clear that he's going to win. And then with Pennsylvania, Donald Trump at 51. It's still a toss-up, but it's probably going to fall into that lean red category very, very soon. We're now less than 1,000 subscribers away from 350,000. So if you guys could hit that subscribe button right now and get us over the top in just 5 seconds, I mean, that would be cool. Really appreciate you guys, tuning into the channel. We're almost at 3 million views, 3 million different people watching this. I mean, that's just unbelievable. So, the support, has just been crazy over the last few hours. But yeah, we'll come back. We'll see if we can make any projections pretty soon. I'm trying to get these states out of the way. All right, we're now less than 200 away, so we're probably going to see it cross very soon. There's a little bit of a delay. But now we're at 350. Thank you guys so much. I didn't even think that we were going to get to 300 during this stream because we were at like the 280 range when this first started. So this has just been incredible. I mean, I guess we can go for 400. I would probably bet that it doesn't happen, but I think if we get close, I mean, that would be awesome. You guys have been amazing sticking with me. I'm going to try to keep this going for as long as possible because there's a lot of other races to cover as well. And of course, I think with the mainstream media, the problem is that they're just so slow with it. Because we actually have some more projections to make right now, ones that, CNN, MSNBC, they're simply not going to make at this point, even though they're pretty certain that the race is going to go one way or the other. So we're actually going to replace the goal now for the 3rd time in this video. I mean, thanks to your guys' support, we're now going to up the goal to a whopping 400,000. So again, thank you guys so much. I mean, this really means a lot to me that you guys are enjoying the content. All right, so we're now just 16 minutes away from the next poll closing. The next poll closing will be at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Voting will end in these 4 states: Washington, Oregon, California, and Idaho. They're going to be quite consequential. Actually, they're not. I really don't know why I said that. But Kamala Harris is going to win them, and they're going to be consequential in the way that we'll get the map filled in a lot more after this. Idaho, going to go to Trump, of course. But we do have some projections to make right now. We have a few more. These states, it's going to take a while for Fox News or CNN to do this, but for us here, we can definitely do it a little bit faster. The 2nd district of Nebraska, we are projecting will go to Donald Trump. He's going to win the second district, the second district of Nebraska will go to Kamala Harris. She's going to win the second district after the lines were moved to make it even more left-leaning than it was before. That's probably the only reason why she's winning the second district right now. But it's going to be blue on our map. This is going to give her one additional electoral vote. A moment to drink water. I mean, yeah, I guess I am starting to lose my voice at this point, but we'll see how long we can keep this up. But yeah, so Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, we have more updates from those states. Pennsylvania now, Trump +3. Michigan, Trump +1.3. Wisconsin, Trump +1.3. If you look at the Senate elections, Republicans are in a great place. They might even flip some of these upper races. It seems like Bob Casey right now is on track to lose. Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin is on track to lose. Only Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan is actually going to win. We have two Democratic incumbents right now that nobody thought was going to lose. I mean, look at the odds in Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin had an 83% chance of winning basically throughout the entire year. And then in Pennsylvania, for Bob Casey, it was at 86 at one point. So these two races getting close is just a huge surprise. Now, they could still go both ways, but the GOP should be pretty happy with where they are at this point. A 54 Senate would be incredible for Trump. I think at this point, the House races, I think Republicans will definitely hold on to the House, given how well Trump has been performing on the presidential level. I love this channel so much. Found out about it a month ago and have been hooked. You very professional, well spoken, and make these videos fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that a lot, man. Alan Lichtman is having a meltdown. If someone wants to update me on what he's doing, I think that would be pretty funny to hear.
Beyonce.
But we do have two more projections incoming.
Beyonce.
States, and then afterwards we will have the 11 p.m. poll closing with some more projections. CNN just projected Texas in favor
go up there and go
of
get my
Ted
tea.
Cruz. So obviously he's going to win there, but we already have
Hi,
that
baby. I'm not
projected.
doing it to you. I'm about to hit her again.
I'm
calling her. I'm on live.
We'll go to Martin Heinrich. He's going to win his re-election, even though many of his fellow Democrats couldn't be struggling anymore. Angus King will also win up in Maine. So we have some more Senate projections to make at this very moment. So Maine is going to be blue. New Mexico will also be blue. And then Nebraska is probably going to end up being blue, but we're not going to make that projection yet. We also have in Virginia, Tim Kaine leads by 4. Kamala Harris right now is ahead by 2. So we'll make a Virginia call in just a few moments. But we're about to approach another big poll closing. I mean, something else I just want to say is just how ugly the CNN slides have been this election cycle. I feel like they've just been so much worse than they have in the past. I mean, CNN used to be the one that people liked the most, but now, honestly, it's the one that I like the least. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me there, but the CNN slides just have not been it this cycle. All right, so we're now going to make a few additional projections at this time. We have a few more races that we can call based on the numbers that we're seeing. First off, Virginia. We can call Virginia in favor of Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is going to pull off a very strong performance in the state, but ultimately, Kamala Harris is going to come out on top. Her lead is going to expand slightly. She'll win by around 3 to 4 points. This is terrible compared to Biden's 10-point margin from 4 years ago, but ultimately Virginia is a pretty blue state, and the fact that Kamala Harris is just winning it now, is yet another sign that her campaign has completely gone off the rails. We can also project New Mexico going to Kamala Harris She is going to win the state's 5 electoral votes. It's going to be another small margin, probably even less than 5% or just over. For context, Joe Biden won New Mexico by 11 points 4 years ago. So another huge drop off. I mean, Kamala Harris should be embarrassed by how poor her performance has been this cycle. It really couldn't be any worse. But yeah, so at this point, we're going to fill in the map here. So we have Virginia and New Mexico. Basically, we're left with just the states out west where we do not have where polls have not closed yet. And then we have much of the upper Midwest. But basically, everything else is, has basically gone one way or the other. I'll expand the map here just so you guys can get a clearer look on the right of your screen. Donald Trump is at 244 electoral votes, while Kamala Harris is at 138. Donald Trump needs just 26 more to get to the presidency. It's not going to be that difficult, especially considering that he is going to get Idaho, he is going to get Alaska. There's no doubt about those. And so really, he should have nothing to worry about. He should probably just be practicing his victory speech at this point, because that really is what he needs to be doing.
So happy.
But, again, we're now just 9 minutes away from the next poll closing. This is at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. New Mexico likely blue, Virginia very likely. So basically the way we've been calling this is once the needles fall into the likely or very likely category, we are very likely to make a call for these races, because ultimately the New York Times is going to be right if they put a race in the likely or very likely category. I guess people want me to drink water. I will try to do that. But we do also have new numbers coming out of Arizona, a couple more percentage points here and there. Donald Trump at 49.7. It still doesn't seem like Carrie Lake is going to win, though. That's still a bit of a stretch. And then New Mexico, Kamala Harris 53%, Donald Trump 45%. I mean, I'm watching CNN right now. They're at Kamala Harris headquarters. Doesn't seem like they're having too fun of a time there.
Trump.
Not really sure why, considering that this couldn't have gone any worse for them. Yeah, we're just 7 minutes away now from the last large poll closing. So after this, the only states that will be outstanding are going to be Alaska and Hawaii. So this will get results from states all across the map now. And if we come to the electoral map, I can show you guys where the map is right now based on where candidates are leading. So we've already called Georgia and North Carolina in favor of Trump. And when it comes to the swing states, Trump leads in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. We don't have numbers from Nevada yet. But at this point, if all voting were to stop, Donald Trump would win 306 electoral votes. Kamala Harris would win 226. So, this is going to be, Donald Trump is going to do better than he did in 2016 at this point. And Kamala Harris is going to be the worst performing Democrat since Michael Dukakis in 1988. Right, but for now, North Carolina, Georgia, those are the two swing states we've called so far. I do think we will be able to call Arizona relatively soon. People want to look at Polymarket again, so just give me 1 second there. Donald Trump is at 92%. I mean, this is pretty much a landslide now. Kamala Harris at 8.2. Wisconsin is dark red. Pennsylvania is dark red. Michigan is dark red. Only Nevada isn't as red. Trump's odds went up 31% today, as he is now just on track to win the election. Thank you, Sean, for the super chat. Thank you for all your unbiased coverage, as well as the speed of data presented. Well done from the Finger Lakes in upstate New York. Glad you're enjoying the content. Yeah, polls are about to close in California, which is, of course, my home state. Dropped off my ballot just a few days ago. All right. So right before the 10 p.m. poll close, or right before the 11 p.m. poll closing, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, get some water, as I think a lot of people want me to do that. So just give me 1 second right here. All right, guys, I'm now back. We're going to be, powering through this. Probably not going to take any more breaks after this. Thank you guys for staying with me here. But we have just 4 minutes to go until the last major poll closing of the night. Looking at the map here, the pieces are coming in place. We're at 353,000. It'd be amazing if we could get to 400,000 tonight. So if everybody here watching could, hit that subscribe button, we can see how high it goes in just one moment. I would really appreciate that. I would say, when it comes to, tonight, I'll probably be here for another 3-4 hours. So, any support from you guys would be incredibly appreciated. Are you counting for mail-in ballots, though? Because that seems it could be an issue. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these 3 races, when it comes to Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, a lot of the mail-in ballots have already been accounted for, which is why Democrats had such big leads when the night first began, when the polls first closed. But now, with more time, but now as more time has gone on, as more of these other ballots have been counted, the numbers have gone up quite a bit for Republicans. And so, yes, the mail-in ballots and the early voting, that has most definitely been accounted for. We're just 2 minutes away from 11 p.m. Eastern time. This is, again, going to be the last major poll closing of the night. Joshua Murphy, hey, brother, been watching the whole time over this election, and you are spot on. This $20 will fill in your tank 2 months. Thank you so much for that, for the super chat. Apparently, the news networks just called Georgia. I mean, that was definitely expected. It's the first big blow to Kamala Harris. That was the first one for us as well, along with North Carolina. Brian asks, what map are you using now for updates? Not seeing this. Also, slow mode the chat. Okay, so, I mean, this is the map on the New York Times. I just like it because it updates faster. Also, I think it looks a lot better than, I guess, like the CNN map, because really, what is this? But the New York Times map, I think, is probably the best looking one. And then, where are we in Pennsylvania? Somebody asked. Pennsylvania, Trump +3 with 68% of votes in. It's going to be lean Republican. It's going to be a Trump victory there. Trump's also going to win in Michigan and Wisconsin.
Woo!
He's going to win at least 2 of them. Very likely all 3. So really nothing to worry about there. But it's now 10:59, just 1 minute to go until our last major poll closing. And we will have some projections to make when that finally comes. How's California Prop 36? We're not going to be able to see any of the California stuff until basically the next minute here. Basically right now, we'll start to be able to see some of the more specific things from each of these states. But it is now 11 p.m. Eastern time. Also, thank you, Adam, for the super chat. Thank you, Cooper. Really appreciate the support. But it is now 11 p.m. Polls have closed in Washington, Oregon, California, and Idaho. All 4 of these states' voting has finally ended. And so we can make some projections at this time. All 4 of the races, in fact, they're all pretty solid for one party or the other. And this is really when you start to see the map start to fully fill up. Washington, Kamala Harris, the projected winner, 12 electoral votes going to the vice president. Next up in Oregon, or next up in California, 54 electoral votes for Kamala Harris, another solid blue state falling in line. Meanwhile, in Idaho, Donald Trump is the projected winner, 4 electoral votes from the state of Idaho going to the former president. And then, sorry, for some reason I told in Oregon. I apologize for that. California, the last projection is going to be Oregon, 8 electoral votes going to Kamala Harris. Probably going to be a pretty clear victory, but we'll see about that. Oregon is going to be solid blue. And so this is where the map is now. Thank you, West Power 13, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So basically, at this point, we are having, we're just a few electoral votes away from declaring a winner. If I expand the map here, Trump is at 248 electoral votes. Kamala Harris at 212. And so Trump is now just 22 away. And I guess the most likely scenario is obviously he's going to win Alaska. That is for sure. He is not going to lose Alaska. But then he just needs to win any one of these other upper Midwestern states along with Arizona. It's pretty clear he's going to win Alaska and Arizona, plus Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That's where we get Trump at 306, maybe even Nevada, 312. So the map is looking exactly how Trump would have wanted to. But for now, based on the projections that we can actually make, Donald Trump is officially at 248 electoral votes. Kamala Harris at 212. The mainstream media is going to be a little bit behind on this. But, I mean, Trump is just in an incredible spot right now. Pennsylvania, 69% of votes in. Trump holds on to a 3-point lead. Michigan, 29% of votes in. Trump leads by 4. Wisconsin, 61% of votes in. Trump leads by 2%. California there, we're not going to get a lot of votes from California because California is incredibly slow. They do have a lot of votes to count. Poland Ball, hello, can you read this super chat? I'm a big fan. Yeah, of course, I'm glad you're enjoying the content and I appreciate your support. How do I think Trump would do against Newsom? I mean, to be honest, I feel that I think the issue that Democrats had was that with 4 months to go, Joe Biden was still going to be their nominee. They had a big fight over it. And then after Joe Biden finally got kicked off the ballot, they didn't do any sort of voting. All they did was replace him with his vice president, who was one of the most unpopular vice presidents in American history. Yes, her popularity has gone up since, but she has never been known to be popular. And so they chose her, and then they chose Tim Walz, who was even further to the left, which wasn't the smartest move. They should have chosen Josh Shapiro, because Pennsylvania is what they needed. Now, obviously, they would have lost anyways because they don't have Wisconsin or Michigan either. But choosing Tim Walz was a huge mistake for Kamala Harris. I mean, she's barely winning in Minnesota. She's going to win the state by just half. She's going to win by 2.5% now. This is based on the updated projection. It's a toss-up, according to the New York Times. She could potentially even lose Minnesota. Now, obviously, she's not going to lose the state, but it is too close for comfort for Democrats. They made a huge mistake putting her at the top of the ticket. Minnesota is still going to go blue, but by a much smaller margin. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, though, basically locked now for Donald Trump. And we have actually just hit 3 million views on this stream. Over 300 million people have clicked on it. I mean, thank you guys so much. We're still at 150,000 concurrent viewers, even though I want to take that break. It means the world to me that you guys are sticking with me here. We're now 4 hours in. And so if you guys could help me get to my goal of 400,000 subscribers, I mean, that would just be absolutely incredible. If everybody subscribed right now, we would get there within the next few seconds. So if everybody could click subscribe at the very moment to help me out. I've been covering this race for over 4 years. People are saying that the map is too big. All right, they will make it smaller. Sorry about that.
You like that?
All right, anyways, continuing on here. In Oregon, we have 42% of results in. Kamala Harris at 59, Trump at 38. Pretty much the expected margin at this point. Troy Evans asks, why do I think Fox hasn't called North Carolina and Georgia yet? Or why do I think? Well, I mean, with the mainstream media, they have to be fully sure a lot more, even though they know. I mean, if you look at the New York Times site here, I mean, it's a very likely Republican in Georgia. North Carolina's very likely Republican. And, they know that Trump is going to win these 2 states, but I guess they just like to be extra cautious. And I guess for me here, I mean, there's no point in me doing that. I just want to get you the information as quickly as possible because it's clear he's going to win North Carolina and Georgia. There's really no other way that this is going to happen. Grey Garden says, please read the super chat. Robert is watching and wants to see your future wants to be your future understudy. Please say hi, Robert. Well, hi, Robert. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. And I appreciate your support, Gray. And then Red Blue War says, I've watched you every day. Your analysis has been the most accurate, consistent. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the content. Thank you, Tenacious Tom, for your super chat, as well as to you, Daniel. Yeah, so I mean, looking at the map here, we're not seeing too many big updates right now. Arizona's lean Republican. It's almost guaranteed to go red. On the Senate level, though, I do not believe that Kari Lake is going to win. And I think that's something that I've made pretty clear over the last few months. And yes, some people are upset that I like to dog on Kari Lake, but she was not the right candidate, and she is not the person that Republicans should have chosen if they want to win. Now, if they want a candidate that they want the most, sure, Kari Lake appeals to Republicans the most, but not to the people in the center. And that is why she is running behind Trump by 4 to 5 points. Somebody asked me opinions on Alan Lichtman's claims as of current results. I mean, I knew he was going to be wrong this whole time. I mean, his whole scientific method, quote unquote, it was never scientific. I mean, it's just a random list of 14 keys and like whatever number it is. But I'm sure, he chose a good list of issues to focus on, and it's proven to be very accurate. I don't think his model has been bad, but he has just become so liberal. He's come out with live streams every single day talking about how Kamala Harris is going to win, how Kamala Harris needs to win, and it's become so clear that he just supports her so much that I think it's really impacted the way that he's interpreted his keys this time, even though he constantly likes to say that, he's not being influenced by his own personal beliefs. Mandingo says, I appreciate the clarity and balance. A big part of the issue is MSM. I really hope we rid ourselves of lunacy. Bless you, my brother. Well, I appreciate your support and for the super chat. Minnesota, I mean, I think this is one of the big surprises. Minnesota and just how poorly Kamala Harris is doing. She's on track to win by 2.4%. I mean, just look at what's been happening. I mean, just look at 2016. Hillary Clinton wins Minnesota by 1.5%. I mean, that is really, I mean, that's small. That was bad, and this was pretty notably bad. But then in 2020, Joe Biden wins it by 7. Joe Biden with Kamala Harris as her running mate. Today, Tim Walz as Kamala Harris's running mate. He is, even with him on the ballot, Kamala Harris is winning Minnesota by just 2 points. I mean, it really couldn't get any worse for the vice president here. And I do believe, though, that this will be the end of the political career of Governor Tim Walz. He is never going to get chosen for something like this again. Maybe he'll be chosen to succeed Klobuchar if she ever retires in the Senate. But I mean, his career is over. Minnesota was something he was supposed to deliver by a 10-point margin. He won his re-election by 15 points in 2022. Today, today Minnesota is among the closest states in the country. Brad says, your channel has even gotten my 77-year-old mother to follow the entire race. Thank you so much. She used to be a Democrat, by the way. Well, yeah, I'm glad people are getting interested in this. I try to present things in an interesting and digestible way. Um, which was what I'm trying to do. Which is what I've tried to do basically this entire time. Now we do have more results from Maine. It's now likely Democratic. Kamala Harris at 53. New Hampshire as well. I will say that Minnesota, we probably will be able to call soon, but it is looking good for Trump. I think if you are in the Trump camp, you should be feeling extremely happy about where this is headed. Maybe not a victory, but I mean, still, it's good. Somebody said that the 400K banner is off by 1 pixel. Is it to the right or to the left? Because I personally cannot see it. And I will adjust that for you guys here. All right. Give me 1 second. I think that does it. Let me know if the 400K is now centered. Somebody asked if Pennsylvania is decided by now. Yeah, Pennsylvania, it's pretty much decided. I mean, 73% of the votes are in. I will expect to call the state before I end the stream, so it should be pretty soon. But yeah, I wouldn't expect it to take too long. Somebody wants me to check Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. So Georgia, it's a lock for Trump. He's won it. North Carolina, he's won it. Virginia, Kamala Harris is going to win it. It's not going to be by a big margin. It's actually incredibly small. 4.7% is the projected margin. Kind of embarrassing, honestly. She's going to do worse than Hillary Clinton in the state. And then Pennsylvania, Trump leads by 3. He's probably going to come out on top by around 1 to 2. And so, yeah, if I miss your chat, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to get through all of them. Somebody asked, thank you for keeping me sane in spite of the madness here in Seattle. Good, pragmatic reporting. And I appreciate that. Taylor Daniels says, what will you be covering after the election? I'm new to the channel since this election started. I would say definitely just focusing on the midterms, 2026. We have a lot of big races there. And then, of course, 2028 as well. I think Democrats are going to be doing a lot of regrouping after this cycle. This has been a gut punch for them. It really couldn't have gone any worse. And, I mean, this isn't my full-time job, so I will also enjoy the slight break that I will have from doing all this, but I've definitely enjoyed doing it. I mean, I've been waiting 4 years, ever since 2020. We put out hundreds of videos of 2020 and now 2024. Somebody says Milwaukee's votes are coming in late. Will Wisconsin go blue? It's unlikely Wisconsin will go blue. Trump is probably going to win it by a few points, maybe like 1 to 3, I would say right now. Why then haven't they called Georgia and North Carolina? They will very soon. I mean, they're trying to be cautious, but it's going to happen. Somebody asked what's going on in Nevada. Nevada just is slow. They're always slow, so you just don't have to wait. But it seems like there's no way Trump is going to lose it. Daniel says, my favorite channel for accurate elections, forecasting, and reporting information, my go-to place for political races. I mean, yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm glad that, I'm able to be a source that, that you guys trust and look to. We are now just 47 minutes away from the next poll closing at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. It will no longer be the 5th, but it will actually be the 6th of November, and so this is pretty big. We're now on the next day, and we're getting close around the time when Trump was projected the winner against Hillary Clinton in 2016. And the same thing could happen now with Kamala Harris. I mean, we've heard reports that they're drafting her campaign speech, her concession speech. She's probably going to give a call pretty soon. It's pretty clear the direction that this is headed in. James asks, do you think J.D. Vance will run in 2028? I mean, I'm sure, he will try. I'm sure he has that ambition. And I think he will do well. I think at the beginning, a lot of Republicans doubted him. Personally, I was more in favor of Glenn Youngkin. I think he appealed a lot more to moderates. But I think J.D. Vance, with that debate performance, he really changed a lot of people's minds. And so he went from being somebody people thought that Trump made a mistake in choosing to probably being the front runner now for the 2028 nomination. It is not going to be Ron DeSantis. I mean, DeSantis is popular. He's done well in Florida. But I mean, after challenging Trump, he's going to lose support there. and just add on the fact that his 2024 campaign was pretty abysmal. I think that J.D. Vance is poised to become the next Republican nominee, but of course, things like that can change all the time. Will you watch the winner announcement live? I hope so. I hope to be here for as long as possible, that we will be able to see a winner projected in the race.
It's cold.
Nicholas says, what makes you think Georgia is a lock for Trump? Well, it's very likely Republican right now, with 94% of the votes saying Trump leads by 3%. If you think about it, Kamala Harris would have to win almost all the votes to win the state. She would have to win an overwhelming majority, and that just isn't going to happen. It's going to come in base with the same rate as they have. North Carolina, same thing, 88% in. With my full-time job, I'm actually a student, so I don't have a job, I guess. So, I guess that's all I really have to say to that. Somebody says nobody cares about one pixel except that one OCD dude. Yeah, I guess just on my other monitor I couldn't notice, but we're now approaching 359. We're 41,000 subscribers away from our goal of 400,000. So if you guys could all hit that subscribe button right now, that would mean the absolute world to me. I'm going to be here for as long as possible. So, I guess there's a little time for us to get to that goal, but I'm going to be here until we have a winner, because I do think that we will. It'll take a long time, I believe, but I'm going to stay with you guys here until the very end. We've been doing this for 4 years. I'm not just about to give up now. Somebody said, is this going to be closer than 2020? No, this election is not going to be closer than 2020. Right now, Trump is not only on track to win more electoral votes than Joe Biden won in 2020, but he's also on track to win by larger margins. If you look at the 2020 map, Joe Biden won the election because he carried Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona. If he lost these 3 states, all states he won by less than 3/4 of a percentage point, he would have lost the election entirely. Today, Trump is going to win Georgia, Arizona, and North Carolina by at least 2 to 3 points. He's also probably going to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania by 1 percentage point or more. So it's not going to be closer than it was in 2020. It'll be similar, but there is a clear shift to the right across the country. Donald Trump is performing much better than he did last time in every single state. There's really no state so far that Kamala Harris has outperformed the incumbent president in, and I think part of Joe Biden will be happy because he does have a big ego, and he will, say that I told you so to all the Democrats. But of course, this is bad for his legacy, as his vice president couldn't get elected after him. Somebody said, you're much more reasonable than Let's Talk Elections. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that he's been catering to the Democrats. He wouldn't have it any other way. I guess we can actually pull up his final prediction just for fun to see here, comparing it to what we're seeing right now. I'll pull up my prediction first. I made it pretty clear that Wisconsin and Michigan were pure toss-ups. I gave it to Kamala Harris by a very small margin. I think I actually have a forecast from 5 days ago that I can find for you guys. I think this one's actually going to turn out to be incredibly accurate. I believe I released this just a few days before the election. If you'll give me just a moment here to find the forecast I released before the final one, probably the one 10 days before actually. Yeah, this one right here on October 26th, I had 312, 226. That is probably what the map is going to end up being. I think this map would actually be nearly perfect, even in terms of the margins. But I think the race trended a little bit better for Harris in those final few days. But we're still always pretty confident in that Trump victory at the very minimum.
Hey guys.
I guess I do want to look now at Let's Talk Elections final prediction, just out of pure interest. Give me 1 second just to pull it up. I believe here it is. His final Senate prediction, I think this is going to end up not being as bad. I think his Senate prediction wasn't as terrible. He had basically Republicans at 52. He did have the GOP winning North Carolina, or winning Ohio along with Montana. And then for the presidency, yeah, this was his map, 292, 246. He's just going to be totally wrong here. Somebody said, how many subs did you have at the start of the night? Your channel is great. Say Ethan Smells, my watch party. I mean, Ethan Smells. And I guess his prediction stinks as well. But at the start of the stream, we were at 286 or 287, I believe was the number. So, I mean, the support tonight has just been incredible. North Carolina has been called by the mainstream media, I hear. Isaac Lightning, thank you so much for your super chat. 2020 happens until a state has been called. Anything can happen. I definitely agree with that. Lewis, thank you for the support as well. Yes, North Carolina is now called. The New York Times, North Carolina projected to win a Donald Trump. Georgia will be called very, very soon as well. Now, the reason why we aren't able to call the remaining races, if I pull them up here right now, I guess I can explain to you why there is this slight stall. All right, just give me 1 second to adjust here. Let me know if the stream is lagging in any way. Let me know if it's okay. But, all right, so just looking at the map here, Minnesota's taking a while just because of how bad Kamala Harris is doing. That's really just the main reason. And then Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, we're just going to have to wait a little bit, but we are going to get we're going to get a projection there pretty soon. And then Arizona, we just need more votes in, but we're going to get it soon. And then in Nevada, they're just going to take a long time to count. So really, when it comes to these 6 states that remain, we know that Trump is probably going to win 5 of them. It's only Minnesota where Kamala Harris is on track to win. But just as of right now, we just can't call them yet. I guess, if the most unlikely scenario happens, we wouldn't want to be wrong. But at this point, I can tell you that it's pretty likely Trump is going to win them. I'd be incredibly surprised if he did it. The New York Times currently has it at 230, 179. My map is 248, 212. The New York Times will update to basically fit mine pretty soon. But we're now just 38 minutes away from the next poll closing. Pretty close to it now, so we might as well actually update the Senate map at this point. The Senate elections are going to be pretty surprising as well. Republicans are doing incredible, by the way. John says, send a goal image that is a little more specific to your X email. Great job. Never take sponsors. All right, thank you. I'll make sure to take a look at that. But we'll look at the Senate races first right now. Virginia just got called for Tim Kaine. He's going to defeat Hung Cao. He's ahead by 6 points. He's probably going to win by around 8. I mean, that's a weak margin for Tim Kaine. Definitely disappointing for the Democrats there. Has Amy Klobuchar's race been called? No, but Amy Klobuchar is probably going to win in Minnesota. She is performing a lot better than Kamala Harris. I wouldn't be worried about her there. Texas has been called. Nebraska, Deb Fischer is still behind, but she will come out with a victory. But we do, of course, have these Senate races out west. Washington and California, solid blue. Utah, solid red. And then in Montana, with 6% of the votes in, Tim Sheehy, it does look like he is on track to defeat incumbent Senator John Tester. This is another flip for Republicans. Sheehy has an 89% chance of winning. This has been a terrible night for Democrats. Looking at the latest numbers here, this is actually really surprising. We might see Republicans win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I mean, that would be unprecedented. I don't think anyone could have predicted that. I certainly had Republicans winning Montana, West Virginia, and Ohio, but these additional 3, I mean, that is a big deal. We have 2 big incumbents here, Tammy Baldwin and Bob Casey, 2 of the most prominent members of the Democrat Senate delegation, and with them losing their re-elections, this is going to be a dumpster fire of a night for Democrats. And so we only have a few races left to call on the Senate level. Hawaii will be able to call for Democrats at midnight. But with the rest of the map on the presidential level, we're just waiting for some more results to come in before we can be sure and make these projections. Carl Phillips, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. Drink water. Yeah, I'm definitely doing my best to do that. Stevie says, can you check the House? It's not looking good. I mean, the House was always going to be difficult, but I will say that considering just how well Trump is doing right now, I think Republicans will take back or will hold on to the House. I think Mike Johnson is going to get another term as the Speaker, but for sure I'll be able to look at the House numbers here. Republicans at 164, Democrats at 109. I don't believe any flips have been called yet, so we're basically at where we were just where we were before the election. But in terms of most competitive districts, Democrats are at 4, Republicans are at 2. I mean, this doesn't really say too much. We can look at Polymarket and see the odds here. Republicans have a 78% chance of winning the House. They have a 97% chance of winning the Senate, and they have an 85% chance of winning the presidency. I mean, you really couldn't be any more sure than this. Republicans are on track for a trifecta. It's going to be a huge victory for the GOP. I think a lot bigger than what anyone could have expected. Jess Hernandez, this is the best analysis I've seen, and more networks should have something like this without bias. Is this your professional area of study? I would say I'm studying international relations and economics right now, so I'd say it's pretty similar, but not specifically political science. Thank you, James Reed, for the super chat. Thanks for such outstanding work. I followed you as much as I could, and I have to say I learned a lot. You're the best. I'm really glad you're enjoying the stream. We still have a little bit to go, but stick with me here. We are going to get a winner tonight. I do wholeheartedly believe that we're going to be able to project Donald Trump as the 47th president. We're probably going to be able to watch Kamala Harris's concession speech as well. But I do just want to remind you guys, we are at 361,000 subscribers, just 39 away from our goal of 400,000. I mean, there's 150,000 people in here. If all of you guys subscribe at the same time, we would instantly hit 400,000. So I'd really appreciate it if all of you guys could go down there, hit that subscribe button. You can unsubscribe after, honestly, but just hit that subscribe button and see that number shoot up. I'd really appreciate your support there. Alex says, thanks for your coverage. It is way better than everyone else's. My friend Drew Peacock just joined the stream and wanted to give him a shout out. Shout out to you, Drew Peacock. Coming back to the map, we'll see if we have any updates here. Pennsylvania, 77%, Trump leads by 3. Michigan, 35%, Trump leads by 6. Wisconsin, 68%, Trump leads by 3. So it's clear Trump is going to win these 3 states. And then in the Senate, it's going to be a little bit closer. But, it's definitely going to be a big victory for the former president. Arizona, we're stuck at 53%. I'm hoping that we get a little bit more from there in the next few minutes. Georgia is going to be called very, very soon. Nevada, nothing there yet. Nevada is just the slowest counting state in world history. It really couldn't be any slower. Somebody said, I've been living for your video predictions. Thank you for all you do. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Doing it daily is definitely not been the easiest thing to do, but there's a lot of enjoyable factors in that. Headshot, you missed my previous super chat. If you can remind me what you said in the last one, but if you want to shout out to you, Headshot. But I'll try my best to get to all the super chats. Honestly, I don't know if I can just isolate them themselves, but I really am doing my best to get this to work. Combat Carl, thank you so much for your support. Tom Klein, thank you for becoming a channel member. We'll come here and look at the betting markets here again. I think that they're just going to continue to move more and more in Trump's favor, and you can download the Polymarket app yourself with the link in the description below. You can get it for free. There's going to be more races and a lot more data to look at in the next few days, so having that in your pockets is going to be pretty useful. Tom, thank you for your support. Trump is now at a 96% chance of winning. I think the polling market site is, being overused right now, which is why the images aren't even loading. But 94-5. I mean, yeah, this is pretty terrible for Democrats. I would say this is the worst election defeat for the Democrats. I mean, obviously since 2016. I mean, that was the biggest surprise. Lizzie Woodson says, "Do we know what time the election will be announced?" It really just depends. I would say it comes down to the Midwest. It really depends when projections can be made in these states, and it's clear. I think everybody knows that Trump is going to win. Kamala Harris knows that she's not going to win. Kamala Harris knows that she's lost, but it will take some time. They're going to want to, obviously Kamala isn't going to want to upset her supporters and give up so quickly. So they're just going to wait a little bit, but I think a speech will be coming out tonight, and the phone call, of course. Edgar Medina, you want me to say your name? So big shout out to you. Thank you for the support. J.A., shout out to my friend Tyler Savely. Shout out to Tyler, who put me on to you, so I appreciate that. Right, Ron and Jerry, thank you for keeping us well informed. Thank you for your support. Brody says, "How old are you? Very good job. I'm glad I found out so I don't have to watch mainstream news." I will say this is the first time that I have voted, so that gives you a hint. Dax Zim, what will you do after the election? Just focusing on the midterms. There's still a lot of elections going on, a lot of politics to cover. 2026, we have a much more interesting Senate map than we did this time. The Senate map for 2024 was pretty boring. And then, of course, 2028 will start to heat up a lot quicker than people expect. And, this is my full-time job, so I'm going to enjoy the break as well. I've been doing this every single day on top of, other things. So totally okay with taking a step back a little bit from this. Tom Klein, thank you again for your super chat. I think I noticed this is at least your second or third one, so thank you so much. Lisa says, "We've only watched your coverage tonight. Thanks so much for the non-drama results. Excellent content and explanation. Easy to follow along graphs." Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you to the Flying Clownfish. You want me to give a shout out to Mark Cuban? Shout out to Mark Cuban. I feel like he's really been trying to get political over the last few months. We'll see what he does with it. Thank you, John, for your support. And so I guess we'll come back to that. Pennsylvania is now at 78%, Michigan 38%, Wisconsin 68%. I would expect that before 1 to 2 in the morning, we probably should get a full projection, or at least very close to it. It'll be abundantly clear how this election is going to go. New Mexico, they still even haven't called this for Kamala Harris yet, just because she isn't doing that well. Virginia as well, and up in Maine and New Hampshire. Although ultimately, these races aren't going to go one way or the other. Mark says, "Been watching you for weeks. Thanks for the hard work. Buy your book on me." Yeah, I appreciate that, Mark. And thank you so much for your super chat. Kenneth, I'm so glad I found you tonight. Not having watched the network filler is such a relief. Yeah, I appreciate that. If there's any other questions you guys have, make sure you let me know in chat. I'm constantly reading through it, trying to get to everything. Obviously, it won't be perfect, but, I'm trying to give you guys what you guys want. Huffy says, "Thanks for the updates for the past few months. I look forward to them every day. What does the New York Times have the margin of victories for Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin?" Yes, I can show you those three right now. Wisconsin, currently, the margin is going to be 1.8% for Donald Trump. Definitely a lot bigger than I personally would have expected. But still, this is a good victory, a good number for president, his largest victory in Wisconsin ever. And in Michigan, Donald Trump's on track to win by 2.4. This is very close to Biden's margin from 2020. He won it by 2.8. And Michigan's supposed to be the bluest of the three Rust Belt states. And then finally, in Pennsylvania, Trump is on track to win by 1.9. So all three of them, it looks pretty clear that Trump is going to come out on top. I'm just looking at betting markets. They're all basically the darkest shade of red that is possible. We should be a little bit lighter. Somebody said, "It's Anthony. Can you give a shout out to Tim Ensor for telling me about you?" Yeah, shout out to Tim Ensor. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, Dina, for the support. Thank you, J. day, the station in Japan and was worried about not being able to stay fully informed. The time difference and such, great job. I love the non-bias, let's start this name, student live. Well, I do appreciate that. Thank you to that one channel for your super chat as well. So I mean,
and that's it. I'm going to be continue to watch. I'm going to continue to watch, but I just want to say thank you so much for watching my channel. And even if you like koala, it's fine, you know. But thank you for liking my channel. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It's pretty clear it's gonna be Donald Trump. I'm speaking, it is Donald Trump. I'm so thankful because I have literally painted my car with Donald Trump. And it's just, yeah. So I'm very happy. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.